now people are looking for proof of person imperfection, meaning whether that's a misspelled word, whether that is your photo is off just a little bit.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Who said you're not perfect?
Did you improvise this song? What is that?
You know, I don't actually know. I know that's a song. I don't remember who sings it. I don't remember the rest of the words.
Are you certain those are the lyrics?
No. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. Chelsea, why are we singing an impromptu, probably not original Chelsea song about perfectionism? Oh, it's because we're talking today about perfectionism and marketing and why it's probably killing your marketing.
Yes, such a good topic because I want to alleviate your stress, small business owner.
Is it Selena Gomez?
Oh, I don't know any of her songs. I don't know.
It's either Selena Gomez, Hannah Montana, or Demi Lovato. I don't know which one. I'm going to lose my 2000s card.
I mean, for sure. If it was Alice in Chains or System of a Down, I could probably name the song, but you lost me at Selena Gomez.
Okay.
All right. So
sorry.
The topic at hand today is how perfectionism affects your marketing or your lack thereof, right?
Yeah.
And so part of the reason we want to bring this conversation to the forefront is because we are not blinded by the fact that there is intense pressure for you to show up on all the platforms, right?
Yeah.
And if you've taken a stroll through your Instagram this week, I guarantee you that as a small business owner, you have probably landed on anywhere from 5 to 10 reels of content creators telling you how to run your business, how to show up and create more content, the fact that you need to post every single day in order to grow your following and all this. And there's a lot of messaging out there. It can be, I think, just destabilizing, and it can pull us away from the priorities and also from the mission and vision of what you guys intended to do when you launched your small business.
No, absolutely. So today, Vivian, what we're going to talk about is what do we mean by perfectionism in marketing, how it can hurt your marketing and in turn hurt your small business. And then we're going to talk about the difference between perfectionism and creating good quality content and marketing. Because yes, today we're talking about how perfectionism is the devil. No, how perfectionism.
I felt like I was just taken back to the witch trials in Salem or something.
Didn't you live through Satanic Panic? Why didn't you go with that?
I did live through Satanic because I was so far removed from all of that. I didn't even know what was going on, to be honest.
I find that Hector plays D&D.
Yeah.
That was the key problem.
There were other,
Well, problems. Yes, there were other problems. You know what? Okay. What I was saying is we're going to explain the difference between perfectionism and creating good quality content because, no, you don't have to be perfect. You still need to create something that's good, though.
Right. We're not suggesting that you just literally roll out of bed, start creating videos in your PJs and somehow expect that to translate to sales.
I mean, it could. No, Vivian, let me go ahead and do my marketing hot take because this kind of, okay. Pew, 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 pew. Marketing hot take. Big brands are leaning into weird marketing And I haven't decided if I'm pro or con yet. Okay.
Okay.
This stems from, y'all go check out Brita, the water filter. Check out their social media. I sent 2 videos to Vivian yesterday because
They were off the chain, you guys.
I don't even know how to describe it. You just have to go watch it. Tim and I were having a discussion about it because it didn't necessarily make me uncomfortable. My problem is it felt like they were trying too hard.
Yeah, and it's weird because,
it was an animation, but it was very like leaning into Gen Z.
I don't even know if this is something that was common when I was growing up, or if it was just common to me and my very weird friend Alex, who was my college buddy. We have very quirky taste, and we would always share like the most random videos. But I believe that there was a video circulating back in, let's see, I graduated when did I graduate? I graduated 2005. I was going to say 2015. 2005 from college. And so this
I graduated high school in 2016.
Okay, so this might have been in 2005 or 2006 the year after we graduated. He had sent me a video where it was animated and it was this pair of legs that was like walking through space, and then it was walking on a treadmill, and then there was this song that was in the background. None of it made sense. I thought it was hilarious, but if you guys are around my age, around 40s, and you remember this video, let me know in the comments, because I just wonder if maybe it's something we found, but I feel like it was a popular video that was circulating at the time. But that's what these Brita videos or marketing videos, I liken them to that. They're very off the cuff.
It's very meme marketing.
Yes. Off the cuff, a lot of animation, made up songs that don't make sense and really have nothing to do with water.
Well, I mean, they kind of brought it back.
They did. They worked really hard on the lyrics to incorporate water where water was not really supposed to go. As it correlates to this conversation, Chelsea, I think in regards to your marketing hot take, I also don't know how to feel about this, partially because the one thing that I think with progressive marketing works is if it actually translates into generated revenue, right?
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, if these quirky videos do nothing more than just get a lot of views, but it's not actually doing anything to drive the business forward or drive the brand forward, then I kind of don't understand. I'm like, why would you? I get being kitsch, but I don't understand this.
Yeah. See, and my issue, I already brought it up, but when bigger brands do this, it feels disconnected to me. Yeah. It feels like you're pandering, which, I mean, that's what businesses do. They want you to buy their product. I get that. I feel like it would work. I would not be so turned off by it if it was a small business.
Oh, interesting.
When small businesses get weird, I like it. When big businesses get weird, I don't trust it. I think that's what it is.
That's funny. Yeah. All right. So where do you want to start our conversation about perfectionism in marketing as it relates to small businesses?
Well, let's talk about what that means. We keep saying perfectionism in marketing, but what are we actually talking about? Vivian, perfectionism in marketing, think of it this way. Let's say as a small business owner, you really want to buy space on a billboard, but you've decided that, you know what, this is such a big investment and I don't have good enough quality images to spend so much money on. Or for example, let's say you're creating content, but then you never end up posting it because it's never good enough. Maybe you think you look weird. Maybe you think that you stumbled on your words a little. It's the small things that you're nitpicking because you want it to be perfect. Or you don't send out email marketing because you think your verbiage or the design of the email is not good enough. Notice how all of these things that are not good enough have stopped you from doing the marketing.
Right, from going out there promoting your business or
Yeah.
finding new ways to connect with potential customers, or raising general brand awareness, right,
Yeah.
about your business. This is all very interesting because as you were walking through each one of those examples, the one thing I kept thinking too is I think this can also show up in very different ways where because you want it to be perfect, you feel like your budget is not big enough to actually pull the resources in that in your mind you think you have to have. With example to the billboards, maybe I think, oh my gosh, when I put the billboard up, I want it to be just perfect, to have just the right messaging, which means then I have to hire an ad agency or a marketing agency to do that, which means I not only have to pay for the billboard, but now I have to pay an extra $10,000 to have somebody help me put together a good idea, a good enough idea to be able to do that. When instead, maybe the first thought should be, okay, I have a limited budget. I have an idea that I think would work. Let me reach out to the billboard company and see what internal resources they have that I could use for free or for a very minimal cost. And so I think I wanted to bring that up because I do think that the idea of creating something that is perfect and just right can also manifest in a way where you're succumbing to this idea of like, my budget's just not big enough. So I'm just going to do nothing and wait until I have enough of a budget to be able to move forward with just the right thing.
Yeah. Also would love to point out more money does not mean better.
Yeah. Well, and also there is nothing, there is nobody better suited to understand your business and your products and services. We also feel that there is nobody better suited to represent your business than you, the creator, the business owner, right? And so I say that to say your ideas, yes, you are not marketers by trade. You didn't go to school maybe for marketing. However, we are in an environment where all ideas are valid and you shouldn't write yourself off as not being a good idea generator. Okay. Does that mean every single idea you have is going to work out? No. But that also happens to people that are marketing professionals. That happens to people that
She pointed at me.
that happens all the time over here. No, but I think I want to say that because there's such a imposter syndrome thought tied to people with really great ideas, the brilliant stuff that I see that content creators are putting out there on social media. I could never. Okay, but we live in a big, vast world that is accepting of all kinds of ideas, and ideas don't have to be big and flashy to be effective.
Absolutely.
Right? And so you taking one small idea about, you know, hey, I want to send out an email marketing campaign that's going to focus on this particular product that I'm starting to carry in my business. Take that idea and flush it out. Okay. Get other people involved. Do what you need to do, but don't let it be something where you're writing yourself off before you're even giving yourself a chance to try it.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up marketing agencies because, like you said, the best person to represent your small business is you. The person who knows your small business is going to be you. Sometimes what happens with marketing agencies, and I'm not knocking them or anything like that. Well, I'd love to knock them actually. But
she is so aggressive.
To each their own. My issue with marketing agencies is that they're going to help you in a very generic sense because they're never going to understand truly your small business.
I am going to push back a little bit on that. I think that's a little unfair to say simply because if you hitch your wagon to a really good marketing agency, just like, you know, a good promoter, a good, like any person worth representing your business, the key thing that's going to make them really good at what they do is their listening skills. If you come to me and I'm a marketing agency and you're like, Vivian, I want you to help me put together a billboard. Wonderful. I should then understand that there's going to be a discovery phase where I need to be sure that I flush out and get all the information I need about your business to be able to put in front of you an idea that, for one, aligns with your business, and two, that you're going to like, and three, is effective in driving people to that, storefront. And so listening, and being able to put a good idea together, those are key components. So I don't want to just say marketing agencies are going to do that, in a general way, because I feel like good marketing agencies really do represent their clients well, and they go above and beyond to understand what their target audience is needing to pull them in.
Okay. That's fair. Vivian, do you want to go ahead? I think we've explained what we mean by perfectionism in marketing. Let's do a deep dive into how specifically it's hurting your marketing. And we've already mentioned paralysis.
Yes. Okay, so paralysis to the point where it's almost like you can't make a decision.
Yeah, you can't make a decision. You can't complete the campaign because it's not perfect, or because you're so worried about making a mistake that you stop whatever you're doing.
Or, the other part with paralysis, I think that's a big driver is, I think you're assuming you know what the end result is going to be. So maybe what you're doing is like, you finish editing a reel that's you pitching your community or something like that. And then you look at it and you're like, this is stupid. I'm going to get like 2 views on this.
Yeah.
No one's going to like engage with it. Like, why am I even going to post? And so that also leads to paralysis, because then it just sits there in your edited drafts and you're like, I already know what's going to happen, so I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, that's a great example of paralysis too, yeah.
And what we always tell you guys, go listen to any of our, 150 plus episodes now. We always try to remind you that experimentation is part of marketing.
Yes.
They're not all going to be a home run. And if they are
Grand slam. Slam dunk.
Slam dunk.
A strike?
No.
No, bowling. Bowling is
okay,
strike.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Not baseball. Strike.
Strike, yeah.
Strike and bowling. I'm trying to think of it.
What's
a goal.
tennis? What's tennis?
Tennis.
Love? Is that? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. We ran
But
out.
so they're not all going to be, knocking it out of the park and all that. So you are bound to have, just because you're out there trying new things. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to not be afraid of failing. And so don't let that paralyze you.
Yes.
Don't, go ahead and actually move forward with the idea. That's the only way you're going to know what people are responding to.
Yeah. I love that you brought up how important experimenting is in marketing, because here's another thing. If perfectionism is stopping you from doing these things, you're not having learning moments. You're not having teachable moments. If you never make mistakes, you're never going to discover what works and what doesn't.
Well,
or if you stop before you, if you've never done a marketing campaign and you're like, well, I've never done it, so I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to be able to make it perfect. Okay, maybe that marketing campaign is the thing your small business needs.
And I wonder how much of this idea of perfectionism is truly just you comparing yourself to somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because who defines what's perfect?
Yeah, well, and everyone's got their own style. Every business, every brand has their own style and aesthetic and all of that. And, they're targeting different people, okay? And so the thing is, sure, you can admire and you can like what somebody else is doing, but that doesn't mean it's going to translate to the people that potentially are going to buy your product and service, right? They may have a whole different target audience that they're speaking to. And so that particular aesthetic language works for them. Okay. But I do wonder if the perfectionism idea does stem, and you guys can ask yourself this week, if you're like, man, this isn't good enough to send out. This isn't good enough to share. I really don't know if this is going to be effective. Is that coming from a place of you looking at what somebody else is doing, or what the general, Instagram people, influencers are doing, and saying, I can never match that.
Yeah.
I can never do better than that. Right. I don't know. I just feel like that's something you need to kind of address if that's the case.
No, absolutely. And another big way that perfectionism is likely hurting your marketing, if you are spending so much time trying to get a marketing campaign perfect. Okay, what happens if you finally push it out and it does fine, but you spent all of that extra time on it? Yeah. And it was fine at the beginning. You would have gotten the same results at the beginning if you hadn't nitpicked it so much. We talk about sometimes on this podcast, opportunity cost. The amount of time that you're spending to make sure every single little thing is perfect is money, potential money that you're not getting because you could have been spending your time on something else.
Yeah, and the interesting part with this, so I kind of have two recommendations on this end because I'm in the same boat as you guys, okay? Basically, she's talking to me when she said all that. I have a tendency, and I've been doing this now for so long, like goodness, I've been, my career in marketing has just spanned almost 2 decades now. And part of the thing I find myself doing is I do spend a lot of times like trying to reread stuff, think about if I can word things differently, whether that be like internal communication or stuff that's external facing. What I have found works well for me is I do one of two things. Sometimes if it's a function of I'm just like mulling over something, I will give myself a set amount of time. So let's say I know I have to finish and send something out like, I want to send out a weekly email.
Okay.
I literally will be like, it's got to be complete by this date and time so that I can schedule. Or I'll put a time parameter around it saying, I am going to spend exactly 1 hour working on this, right? Yeah. And so then it kind of like lights a fire under my butt to be like, okay, you have to try to get it as best as you can within that hour. So there's only so much time you can spend tinkering with a graphic. There's only so much time you can spend mulling over the idea. Like, you kind of have to work faster, but it's like a muscle. The more you do that, the easier that gets. And then the other recommendation I have is simplify. All right.
Oh, okay.
I do this quite a bit. I will start maybe writing an email and I want to cram it full of all this stuff when really it's 3 separate ideas, okay? And so I think back and I'm like, okay, is this, once I find that I'm spending so much time on it, I'm like, wait a second, is that because I'm trying to make this one big idea and share one, like, am I trying to connect things that really I can separate into much simpler ideas, right?
Yes.
And then that way I can just create it a lot quicker.
You're trying to do too much all at once.
Yes. Yes. And so I think if you're finding that it's taking you a little longer, if there's one project, whether that be your email, it could be your website design. Okay. You have to revamp it and you're just spending a lot of time and you feel like you're dragging your feet on it. Is it because you're trying to do too much at once? Is it because you're like, I need to redesign my entire website? Maybe you don't. Maybe you literally just have to go in there and update the verbiage or update the 1 or 2 pages that you have changes to, right? So just look at it that way. Try to see a different angle and see if maybe that's what's happening.
This episode of the S.O.B. Marketing Podcast is brought to you by the S.O.B. community. If you're a small business owner that is neglecting your marketing and you feel like you've wasted money and time on marketing help that didn't deliver, or if you're just craving support from people who actually get what it's like to run and promote a small business, then our membership community is for you. Visit school.com/SOB to sign up today to get instant access and weekly support. That's SKOOL.com/SOB.
This next bullet point for how perfectionism is killing your marketing is a really big one.
Okay.
Especially in today's climate. Lack of authenticity.
Oh.
When you're trying to make something look perfect, does that mean you're trying to make it look like everything else? And when you do that, like as a small business, your greatest tool, the biggest thing about you is that you are you. You are that one small business. Why are you trying to look like everyone else?
Thank you for bringing this up. There was a quote that I saw this week. We talked about this. If you guys are looking for more in-depth marketing discussions, go join our S.O.B community because we have discussions like this. And this is where this kind of stemmed from. We were reading information updates. We want to stay in the know with, like Chelsea said, the current climate of marketing, because that changes the way that we show up and the way that you should show up as a small business. There was a whole article that was written about the fact that some of the things, because now there's so much AI generated content out there, it's getting really hard for people. Oh, okay. Let me frame it differently. It's getting really easy for people to spot AI generated content because the sentence structure, the photos, everything is more polished and it's just not conversational. And so people, you guys know, you scroll through these platforms, you can kind of tell when someone has used ChatGPT to write a caption because you're like, first, it's got a gajillion emojis in it. Second of all, nobody talks like that. Nobody would structure a sentence like that. And so what they were introducing was this idea that now people are looking for proof of person imperfection, meaning whether that's a misspelled word, whether that is your photo is off just a little bit, right? They're looking for something that kind of says, hey, this is human generated. This isn't AI. And it introduces this whole new idea where the sentence that I think perfectly summed it up in this article, they said, perfection now reads like a counterfeit bill. Okay, so take what Chelsea was saying and pair it up with this sentence. If you are so focused on trying to make everything perfect, maybe that's the thing though that they can't relate to.
Yeah.
Right. And the more and more that I read about 2026 trends everywhere across the board, even Adam Mazzari said this in a recent podcast episode I watched. Literally, people are looking for ways to connect. They want to feel some type of connection. Okay. They don't want just the ad thrown at them all the time.
Yeah.
And they also want to feel like, okay, I'm not talking to a computer. I'm not engaging with a post that somebody generated on ChatGPT and really could care less. I want to feel some emotion or some connection or some relevancy or say like, oh, wow, that person probably really understands where I'm at in this, in my life because they're also a mother of two. And I know that because of what she expressed in her caption about, bedtime struggles, about the fact that she's running around for 45 minutes, getting a glass of water, getting snacks, getting everything because a kid wants to avoid going to sleep.
Yeah. And Vivian, I do want to point out, we're not telling you to purposely misspell words.
Yeah, no.
No. But what we're saying is, you have a tone of voice when you write something. People can tell when you've written something or when you show up in a video and you're being honest instead of being rigid and quote unquote perfect. People can see the difference.
They can. And I think all of us have been guilty of this as small business owner when we do. And we're all about sharing tools. I mean, the last episode we did
was literally AI tools.
Yeah, it was AI tools that you now have available to help expedite some of your, process. The thing is, there's a balance, I feel like. And if everything is telling us, hey, what people are craving nowadays is that connection and that relatability, we want you to hear that as just show up. Show up. And we're not... we're not saying it can't be polished. If you guys are a little more like me, when I start creating YouTube videos, that's one thing my husband always said. He's like, oh my gosh, you just have this, you're very rigid in the way that you show up. It took me a long time to kind of get that out of my system. And to be honest, I still have some of that in me. That's because I also have a background, I think, where I've spent a good bit of time in professional settings that have also required that I bring a level of professionalism, it's going to be hard to get that out of me, right? I just feel like there's a way that I want to show up. And so we're not telling you to not be authentic to who you are. But what we are saying is don't work so hard and don't fret so much over getting every single thing perfect, right? Being relatable is okay. And people actually like that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm so aggressive. That's who I am. Okay.
Yeah. Chelsea's the opposite.
Vivian, I do want to have a little side conversation since we're talking about AI and how everyone's using AI and it's affecting perfectionism and all of that stuff. Something we talked about in the S.O.B community call that you would already know about
that
if
you guys
had
missed
joined
this
it.
week.
Yeah, you missed it this week. The Supreme Court has recently refused to take on an AI copyright case, which means we are still in this space where all of your AI content cannot be copyrighted.
Yeah.
So, and the laws are very confusing about it. I have some quotes here. So, according to the Copyright Office, generative AI outputs are copyrightable in part, such as when AI is used as a tool and where a human has been able to determine the expressive elements they contain. However, the Copyright Office also describes how persons or videos, written words, created images that were done completely with AI, you can't copyright that. So really important to remember that if you are using AI completely, none of that content is yours because you can't copyright it.
Yeah. And what I'm assuming you're tying this in because what you're probably thinking is that if you've created a character or something using AI and the videos have done really well, you're getting a lot of attention for that someone could easily copy that.
Yes.
And you wouldn't have a leg to stand on as far as like, hey, that's mine.
That's exactly what it is. You won't be able to say that is solely mine because if it was AI generated completely, you can't copyright that.
Interesting. And I'm sure, if you guys want to hear more on topics like that in the future, let us know. And we could consider doing an episode on it. But the interesting part about that is correlating it back to perfectionism. If you feel like your own capabilities are not good enough, and so you're relying a lot on these AI generated tools to do all of that heavy lifting for you. Yeah. And then you're literally just turning around and copying and pasting stuff, which we tell you guys not to do. Okay. Yeah. We're not fans of that for lots of reasons, but this could be another reason why, which is basically like, great. For one, maybe your content now looks polished and perfect. However, is it really your content, right? And if it does go somewhere, if you're using it consistently, it becomes your thing. And then you find that someone else is infringing on that and copying you. Well, tough nookie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, tough. Like, it's just tough cookies. I don't know.
Okay. Yes. And I wanted to bring it up because if you're trying to copy what other people are doing because you find what they're doing to be like perfect and that's what you're going for, that's fine. And legally you can do it if they're using AI. But is this really a scenario that you want to be in?
Yeah, it's, for one, it's making your life more difficult. And two, you guys, like, it's not that hard. Like, just show up, it's the intersection of understanding your target audience, people that are potential customers. And if your goal is simply to increase sales, to drive more revenue to your business, then it just means you have to show up and find the people that could or want to buy your product, right?
Yeah.
And then communicate with them
Yeah.
in a style that, that
Works
is
for them.
appealing to them. Yes.
Yeah. And that's that last piece of this conversation, which is, there's a difference between perfectionism and high quality content. Like, does it have to be perfect? No. Does it have to line up with your brand? Yes. Attention to detail is important. Your branding always has to be consistent, but it doesn't need to be this mythical idea of perfection.
No. And high quality content can be something as simple as just focusing on the language that you're using and ensuring that it's the same type of language that your, potential customer is wanting to use. Not being as technical and maybe being more conversational, creating tutorials that would help them understand how to use your product or your service, especially if it's something newer that you're having to explain to educate. So it could be high quality content can look different depending on what type of service you're in or industry that you're in.
It depends on the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Vivian, do you think we've officially called out perfectionism?
Yeah, we hope you guys do not stress about this kind of stuff. We want you, and that's part of the reason that we wanted to bring a little more discussion as far as where the trends are going or what people are relating to these days.
People don't want to see perfect content. They just want to see you.
They want to see relatable stuff. They want to know what you're about, what your business is about.
They want to know that your small business is run by a human, not aliens.
Yes.
From Mars.
I mean, I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Are we pro Mars?
I'd buy some Brita filters from aliens. Which I think they have taken over their marketing because
honestly, y'all, please go watch the videos for Brita because it was definitely an interesting time. Okay, Vivian, can I do the TLDL?
Yes, too long didn't listen.
Too long didn't listen. If you skipped ahead to this chapter, I'm going to give you a brief summary. However, you should listen to this entire conversation because that's where all the good stuff is. So today we talked about perfectionism in marketing, what it is, how it affects your business, specifically in ways that it stops you from just doing marketing in general. And we talked about how perfectionism and high quality content are not the same thing. Okay. So we still need to shoot for high quality content, but it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to work for your target audience. Okay. And if you want, again, all the little details, you got to go listen to the entire conversation. Vivian, is there anything you want to leave our followers with? And if you're not a follower, go follow.
Just a reminder to go ahead and subscribe so that way you could get notified anytime we drop a new episode. And we are loving it over on Apple Podcasts. You guys are actually hitting that follow button. We hope you will continue to do so. And if you're looking for more marketing topics, we have a whole library, okay? So spend a morning with us. Go ahead and take an hour or two out of your day. Listen to a couple episodes. Earmark ones that you want to come back to.
Absolutely.
We try to jam-pack them with as much juiciness, maybe a tiny bit of, entertainment or sisterly picking, nitpicking.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Y'all, go be the best SOBs you can be.